Welcome to Time for Hope, a faith-based mental health program. Join Dr. Freda Cruz, licensed professional counselor, and her guests as they discuss real-life issues and offer expert clinical advice and solid biblical application for any and all life situations. Now, here's your host, Dr. Freda Cruz.
Thanks for joining us on Time for Hope. Joining me today is Dr. David Clarke, author, Christian psychologist, and speaker. And for 2 weeks, David and I will be discussing his book titled Married but Lonely. In his book, David shares his insights related to the high divorce rate in America and how marriages can be saved and even transformed. If you are unsatisfied, lonely, and know that something is missing in your marriage, although you love each other and are committed to the marriage, you will want to stay with us and learn how all of this can be changed and your marriage transformed. And David, it's great having you back.
Freda, my pleasure.
Time for Hope. And from the things I read in your book, it seems like you're having just a tremendously successful ministry as a counseling psychologist, I guess.
I am a full-time therapist every week. I speak on the weekends, I do these radio shows and write books, but I'm a full-time therapist, seeing mostly marriages now.
But you stay home long enough to keep your marriage transformed, right?
I better. The blonde will be all over me.
But that's what you're teaching in your book. She has the right to do that, doesn't she?
She does, wide open. I want her honest opinion of me as a husband, and she doesn't fail to give it.
Yes, and if you get to going too much and kind of, she gets to be treated like you're more involved in what you're doing than her, she lets you know it, right?
She does. And I am a workaholic, I admit it.
Yeah.
I got to be careful. My best friend Rocky keeps me careful, and of course Sandy will tell me, look, you're just too busy.
Yeah.
And so I say, okay, yes ma'am.
And she's still submissive.
Yes, she is.
Yes, we're going to talk about that. Yes. When I saw that in your book, I almost put it aside and said, I have an issue with submission, but I agree with how you've come up with it in your book. And early on in our marriage, my husband and I had a big issue with it because it was way back when submission meant a lot more than what the scriptures intended when they said it. And I'll tell you about this later, but Sarah was always a shining example for me in the scriptures to kind of balance it out for me. She didn't hesitate to tell Abraham when Hagar had to go, did she?
Oh, she was feisty. She spoke right up.
Yeah.
You're right.
She said, get her and that baby out of here. And
he said, yes, ma'am.
And of course, it's causing a lot of trouble in the Middle East today. But
True.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll get into that later. So we're just going to kind of throw that out so they're going to know that we're not going to be talking about a woman having to stay silent and having no voice in the marriage and so forth.
But that's not what the Bible says at all.
Yes, and you've really done a great job of staying with what I think the Bible says about the subjects that you take up. And of course, I agree with most everything that's in your book, if not everything. You start out, you're really tough on men. I
am.
You are, because you are one.
For their own good.
For their own good, and because you are one and you know them.
Yep.
Yeah, and you seem to have just hit the nail on the head about so many things that men have to deal with. Let's put it that way. And the first thing we're going to come up with, we're going to be talking about IAs.
Right.
Intimacy avoiders. And that's, as a general rule, it's men. And then we're going to be talking about husband transformation strategies, okay? And then we're going to be talking about the wives, too.
Oh, yeah, they're part of the package, too. We start with the men because they're supposed to go first, biblically, but then the wife has to take her turn.
Yes. Yeah. And you take it that way. All right, what about those 7 strategies? Let's just put them right out that you have for transforming husbands. You want to talk about them, take them one by one, or what?
Let's run through these. First, you don't operate alone. If you're the woman married to a good man who avoids intimacy, he's not in serious sin, but you know your marriage is not what it could be, well, then these strategies are for you. And you have to gather a team first. You don't do this alone. You have God on your team. You know Him through Jesus, hopefully. You've got one best friend of the same sex who's got your back, who prays with you, who supports you. I think a church family is very important, and maybe a small group of family and friends. So you've got a team that are in support of you as you go through these steps. You don't want to do it alone.
And maybe even other couples that are dealing with the same thing.
Right, and many are, exactly.
Many, and come together, actually, to discuss some of the issues. And so you're saying the second thing is that she's to tell him exactly what kind of husband she needs him to be.
That's exactly right. You sit the man down. This first meeting is so important. You'll say, honey, I want to talk to you in 3 days from now. Something very important to have to discuss. You are serious as a heart attack. The kids, if you have kids, they're not going to be in the home. They're going to be at a babysitter's. So this man knows this is serious. And so when you sit him down, eyeball to eyeball, honey, I'm not happy in our marriage. You know, we love each other, but we're not intimate. You're not meeting my needs, and I've got to tell you exactly what my needs are. That'll get the man's attention. A good man will respond to that.
All right, and then we move on. She also says that there are things that she has held against him and that she needs to forgive him for.
Right. After stating her needs very clearly in all the different areas, I even have her write out her needs in a letter. Then, she's got all these hurts and resentments, even though he's a good man, that she has to clean out. So she's going to write another letter saying, honey, here's what I have against you. The point is, I'm forgiving you. But also, as the man listens to it, it's like, whoa, he begins to realize even more, I've really hurt my wife. I didn't mean to. And the wife knows he didn't mean to. But if I back the truck over you, even though I don't mean to, it still hurts you. So all the resentments come out, and he's like going, whoa, but a good man will be breaking and repenting and going, I've got to change myself.
But she can kill it early on by putting too much on him too fast or giving him too much too fast. That comes out later in the book.
Right. You're careful.
That's an intimacy killer.
Right. So you're respectful. This is not mean or angry. And clearly even the letter of resentment says, I want to forgive you, honey. I want to wash all this out so I can forgive you so we can start fresh. So you're respectful.
And then later we'll learn in your book that even some of the things that she's asking him to forgive her for could have come from her past.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there's a lot in this book. That's why I've chosen to do 2 weeks.
I think we need 2 weeks.
We need 2 weeks, David. The fourth one, I need to know why I am killing our intimacy, and you've got a whole section in the book on that.
Right.
And she also promises to listen and ask others' opinion about anything that he comes up with.
Right.
Because David, I know for sure, and I've been, I've had private practice also and done a lot of clinical, that there are some men would just be waiting for this opportunity, just waiting for it, and then dump everything on the woman. So, I know some of them are guilty of such as that.
True. And that's why we have the man go first. We kind of loosen him up, we soften him up, he's leading the way. But then we turn the attention to the wife, and at that point she's willing to say, look, what have I done? Tell me, honey, what have I done that has caused problems in our intimacy?
It's not fair to just go one-sided in this,
right.
is it? And then she says, this is exactly the kind of wife I need to be to the husband.
Right. There are chapters in the book that describe what God says the wife is to do, and so she will read those and talk with her husband about those, because God knows exactly what the wife's supposed to do. He created her, and He knows.
We already talked a little bit about that,
Right.
about that submission. And then I thought this was interesting that you put this in. I need your help to heal from my past pain. And you're really saying in your book later on, and there's a portion again dedicated to that, of her sharing her past pain, or pain from the past that easily, when we get married, we bring our past into that marriage.
You sure do.
There is no way around that. And so sooner or later, as Harville Hendricks bears out in his material and teachings, it needs to be shared. Each needs to share. And there can be healing. One can heal the other once they know what they've brought in, the hurt and the pain that they've brought into the marriage. And it's easy. You agree with me on this? It's very easy for a woman to lay on her husband things that really don't belong to him. I always used it this way with my clients. This sounds to me like, or appears to be coming from another time and another place.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I couldn't agree more.
From like the father, for instance.
Exactly. Or a previous husband that
a
harmed her,
previous
boyfriend,
husband, a boyfriend.
Some kid in the neighborhood that abused her. Yeah, all that transfers to the husband. So if together we heal from that, and the husband now is the one helping her heal from those things, they're a lot closer, and we've healed her, so it doesn't transfer.
Then it's his turn.
Right.
There were many times that I said to my husband, wait a minute, I'm not your mother. I can see that you're bringing things that went on between you and your mother into our discussion, into our conflict, into what's going on in our marriage at the time. So let's get her out of the way.
Right.
And deal with the two of us.
Oh yeah, Sandy and I have done the same thing. We live by my parents, so we're very close to them, and so she can see how the family operates and how I'm much like my mother, and so I've got her strengths and her weaknesses. So we've had to have conversations like that. We visit her parents, and I can see, oh boy, now I understand why the blonde does what the blonde does. So we've had to talk that through, and it's healing, and it helps.
One more. I need to get tough and rattle your cage, and you're giving the wife permission, a submissive wife permission to do this.
Right. If this good man does not respond to the opening 6 or 7 steps in the program, well, then he's not a good man. He's a sinner, and we're going to have to confront him. And the Matthew 18 way. You don't do that right away. You do it if he's not responding. Well, then we're going to be very clear, and we're going to confront him and hopefully shake him up so he then repents and does the right thing.
Hopefully his cage gets rattled, and that it will concern him and kind of scare him about what the next step is that she's going to take.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, it's time for a break, and we'll be right back. Can you have the marriage you've always dreamed about? Maybe some of you already do. In spite of the many divorces and bad marriages, let's celebrate with the couples who do enjoy good and meaningful marriages. Some of these marriages might have been good from the beginning, while others could be the result of two people intentionally committing themselves to building the marriage of their dreams. Do I hear you saying, it may be true for some, but my marriage is everything but the way I dreamed it would be. If this is true, let's first explore your perspective related to marriage, because unrealistic expectations about love and marriage could be the very thing which has robbed you of the kind of marriage you have always wanted. If a good and meaningful marriage means a perfect marriage, then you will end up disillusioned, because however good some marriages are, there has never been a perfect one. Very often, and sometimes unconsciously, we conjure up images of the way things are supposed to be, and when they prove otherwise, we can suffer great pain. My challenge to you is to get in touch with reality. Perhaps the pressure of trying to force your marriage into some kind of preconceived mold needs to be taken off of it. Instead of the way you wish things were, accept that for now they are the way they are. That alone will take a great weight off the marriage. Next, I suggest that you take an inventory of your marriage and decide on the changes you think need to and can be made. Then take an honest look at your attitude and behavior towards your spouse and your marriage, and focus on the changes that you can make that might encourage your spouse to change. I recommend engaging the help of a professional, and certainly you will want to take advantage of the many good books available for taking your marriage from where it is to where you would like it to go. Letting go of the way you believe life and your marriage is supposed to be, and taking what you presently have to work with, along with engaging God's help, can turn a meaningless or even a bad marriage into the one that you have always wanted. Thanks for staying with us on Time for Hope. My guest for today is Dr. David Clarke, and we're talking about his book, Married but Lonely. You know, David, that has a sad tone to it. Yeah. Loneliness is a difficult thing to deal with, and to be lonely in a marriage. I know as a widow, I meet other widows and widowers, and those also that have gone through divorce that are single, and every one of them agree to the loneliness in their life, because as a general rule, most of them are living alone. But to be married and lonely, that's a sadder situation as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I agree. And so many, really millions now of Christian wives in particular are living just that way. Some men too, sometimes it's reversed, but mostly it's the wives, and the men have no idea. Typical man doesn't have a clue. He thinks we're fine. If we're having intimacy and you are washing my socks and you're making my meals, hey, we are great, when that's not true.
Yeah. Let's go over the wife's most important needs that you've listed in your book. Emotional connection, and you seem to stress that that's where most men are missing it, that emotional connection with a woman. Feeling loved and cherished. I just read in the scriptures this morning or yesterday, one or the other, I believe it's in Proverbs, and it made it, it said that a woman that is married and unloved, it really speaks of a woman being married and unloved, and how sad that is. Did you know that was in there?
I didn't.
Yeah, it is.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know. I thought about that. Yeah. And there, of course, then they didn't have any choice but to make that choice to stay in, unloved or loved or unloved.
So they didn't have this book in those times.
No, but anyway, feeling loved and cherished is very important.
It's vital. But without that, she's just going to be unhappy in the marriage.
Yes. True companionship. That's another thing that, as I share with widows and widowers and divorced singles, that comes up. They need companionship. Have you ever seen a bird or an animal of any kind that didnthe choose to be with another one?
Well, that's right. They have mates, and some of these mate for life. Exactly.
I watch the ducks on the lake where I live, and guess how they swim along? 2 by 2.
That's exactly right.
And then the seagulls gather as a huge family, and but you can watch them, you know, and they just like that companionship.
It's God's design. It really is for nature and for us too. Yeah.
Well, that's why He created us. I fully believe God created us to be in. Have a companionship with us.
Well, He wants that. He does want that, yes.
Yes, He didn't have to do that, did He? No. Yeah. Then a spiritual bond.
Yes.
I just, we get those prayer requests frequently into Time for Hope where that's missing. One's a Christian and one isn't.
Right.
And they're missing that spiritual bond between the two. And that's terribly important to a woman.
And even to Christians. If the man's not leading in that way, not talking about his spiritual life, not praying with her, not worshiping with her, it's just a devastating situation, and she's not going to be happy again.
Yeah. And then finally, an important need for a woman is romance.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I bet some husbands don't think so, do they?
They don't get it. I pursue you until you marry me. Once I've got you, it's over.
I've heard many women say that.
Yeah.
I have heard many women say that. Now, okay, tell me what's behind that. What's that whole issue about?
It's a guy thing. We're into pursuit. We have a goal. The goal is I want you to marry me. I want to have you as my wife. That's the whole goal. We don't think past that. So once we woo you, we romance you. It is. And when we get it, it's like, what a relief. I can move on to something else now. I picture, like a hunter puts the head of a deer on the wall, that's over with, and then we go find new fields to conquer. But the woman needs to be continually pursued. It should be an everyday thing. That keeps her feeling loved, and she'll respond to that love. Most men don't get that.
But can she not be too dependent on him and too clinging and too needy that would push him away?
Well, it can happen. So that's why we have to have honest conversation about that. She has to have her own life and her own service for the Lord and her own self-esteem and her friends and activities, maybe even a job. So all that's happening, and then as long as she's not, this is an extra thing, but it's important. If he will pursue her, then it really begins to work. But if he would say, honey, you just want it too much, well, we have to have a conversation about that. We can fix that.
If communication, and we've heard it for years from all the writers, the Christian counseling writers and presentations, even Norman Wright and some of them. Communication is the key, isn't it? It finally comes down to the big C.
Ultimately, it's critical. If I have an issue with you, I'm your husband, and I don't tell you, you can't solve it. You'll never know what it is, and vice versa. We have to talk about everything. That's that one flesh. Then we can fix it if it's on the table, and we can work through it.
We don't need to keep anything, do we? And then, but a woman must not, though, in spite of all these needs that are not being met, she must not, you say, focus and obsess over the husband only meeting her needs.
Well, right.
Because no man, I have said this many times to a couple or a woman, no man is capable of meeting all of our needs. No one else, no one is capable of meeting our needs but God Himself.
Right. On his best day, your husband can meet 35, maybe 40% of your needs. That's all. We have 60 that have to come from the other healthy sources, God and friends and children. And maybe career, right. But ultimately, God takes care of that. The husband can't do it.
Yes, so we look to Him. We look to Him to meet our needs. And He says He'll be, what? That He'll be a father to the fatherless and a mother to the motherless. And that He's going to be there whatever our need is. And I've actually counseled people to hang in there and draw from what God has to offer. And then you add, of course, these needs that we're talking about when you can get them from a husband.
That completes the whole package. Well, right.
Yeah. I'm glad you agree with me about your book. So only God should be at the top of her priority list, and only He can meet our inner longings and needs for love, comfort, and security. And we're looking for a man for all of that as a general rule.
Yeah, that is a big risk. It's not going to pay off.
Yeah, it's not. But we must know Him before we can receive those met needs from Him. Must be in relationship with Him. And they're telling me, David, believe it or not, it's time to go. But you're not going anywhere because we're going to do the second show.
Stand right here.
And I'm going to share with my my viewers before we're totally gone for this week. And I have a prayer request from a viewer to share with you. Dear Dr. Freda, please pray for my marriage. I am having a hard time trusting my husband of 34 years after finding out he has been unfaithful. David, we get these kinds of prayer requests all the time. Sometimes it's the wife that's unfaithful. To me, I can't believe he would do something like this. And I believe we're told this is one of the most painful things that can happen to any individual is betrayal by someone they have loved and trusted. I have caught him in many lies. I put my faith and trust in him instead of God. She's beginning to see a truth that is really going to be necessary for her in bearing this pain. I don't want to live with a liar for the rest of my life. This is going to fit right in with the rest of the story of David's book. What is she to do about his lies and his betrayals and so forth? And we will be sharing with that on next week's show, David. And then I have an encouraging note. Dear Dr. Freda, thank you so much for your program, Time for Hope. It is so informative and your guests are great, and we appreciate our guests also. You do such an amazing work and always give God the glory. I pray that I will always do that. To Him be the glory. I lift you up in prayer for your continued work. Thank you for that. I appreciate all the prayers of my viewers. God bless you always. A wonderful note from a viewer, isn't it? And a great, great encouragement. And we look forward to your joining us again next week on Time for Hope. In the meantime, you might take it up with the Lord about, number one, getting David's book, because we're just going to be sharing very little in 2 weeks that are between these two covers. And you can get it for any amount that you choose to send. We're going to let this book go for any amount that you choose to send, Time for Hope. So you need take it up with the Lord, what He would have you do about getting David's book and or contributing and helping us with this ministry.
A free fact sheet that contains additional information about today's topic is available upon request from our ministry. You can also receive a copy of today's resource for a donation of any amount to the Time for Hope ministry. To receive our free fact sheet, or our guest book, or both, you may call us at 800-669-9133. Write us at Post Office Box 2169, Spartanburg, South Carolina 29304, or visit our website at timeforhope.org. When you call or write, please prayerfully consider a donation to our ministry. Our ministry's mission is to offer hope to discouraged and hurting people. As we continue to give out messages of hope, you can become a member of our team by sending us a financial gift of any amount. When you send your gift to support Time for Hope, you are joining us in offering hope to many viewers who might believe there is no hope for their situation. And you are also enabling us to inform and inspire some viewers to expand our mission as they learn and in turn can minister more effectively to hurting people around them. Until next time, have a great week. And remember, it is time for hope.